welcome back to Rust Order Garage and the finale, which should be the finale of the $5,000 budget build 56 Chevy pickup. It has been how many months? Started this middle of May of last year, so about 10 months working on it, off and on. Not every day, not every week, certainly every month, but you know, just doing it on days off. And I think this should be the finale. All right, I'm going to switch to the microphone to see if it helps with the wind noise, because, man, it is windy today. So, there are three things, I guess I would say, that are left to do on the truck. That would be the sill plates for the carpet, new chains for the tailgate, and to sand the bed down. Now, I'll just tell you right now, little information. If you use, let me find my piece of sandpaper here to show you what I'm talking about. There it is. If you use cheap paint, and I don't mean cheap like it's cheap paint, but low buck paint, low buck enamel, Rust-Oleum, Tractor Supply, that kind of stuff. It's an alkyd enamel paint, okay? And obviously that's what I used. I brushed it on and I use it on frames and stuff. But I always use a hardener in it. Now, I did not use a hardener in this because I brushed it on. But just a word to the wise, I learned this many, many, many years ago. If you spray Rust-Oleum or Tractor Supply or any alkyd enamel on your car and you do not use a hardener, that paint is never going to really dry. And I mean, like, in years, it's not going to dry. And what happens is, see, I started sanding on the rear bumper to get some of the white to show, to match the front bumper. And when you sand this stuff without hardener, this is what it does. It basically chunks up and clogs the paper. You do not sand it. It is very difficult to sand without just wasting all your paper. So just be warned. You plan on painting your stuff with this kind of paint, obviously you would spray it and not brush it. Use a hardener and it will work nice. And even better, you want to go one other step, spray an automotive grade clear over it. And then you can cut and buff the clear and you can really make a nice paint job. So yeah, that was the first disc I used on the bumper. And one other thing I wanted to say too. You can use Rust-Oleum or Tractor Supply paint, but I would only use it on frames and stuff, because to tell you the truth, you go online to a place like, what is it, TCP Global, like where I got a complete paint kit when I painted the Hudson, and you saw that on my other videos. $500 for a full kit of single stage real acrylic enamel with a hardener and reducer and a primer sealer and, you know, automotive grade stuff. And it was not very expensive. But, you know, you want to use this stuff. I use it all the time on frames and chassis and things like that. But put a hardener in it. If you ever plan on trying to take it off to repaint the car, you're not sanding it off. You're hitting it with a wire wheel or a razor blade. So 3 things to do. One's already done. You saw in the last video I was working on the sills. They are done. They are in, and I made them so that they fit so tight. All I had to do is put screws on the end and they're not moving. So that cleaned up the edges of that cheap carpet very nicely. And yeah, I even did both sides. I didn't cheap out on time. Material, yes, I did cheap out on material. But there you go. $10 bed frame did the job. All right, so the next thing is going to be to replace the tailgate chains, because one was broken in half. And I have it here on the hood of the donor Escalade, which needs to get out of here soon. Got to get the 6-liter out of it. And that's what's left of the original chain. It was inside the original plastic chain covers, which are chunked full of rust. So I'm going to save the hooks and the mounting end, which actually didn't break, and make some new chains for this. All right, let's try this again because I was outside and I lost my mic and lost some footage. But so basically I went to Home Depot, got some replacement chain that is close to the original in size, and for the plastic cover that went over the original chains, I found some of this, which is just some vinyl tubing, 3/4 inch OD, 5/8 ID, and that seemed to line up pretty good with the size of my chain. Should be able to get it to go through there. Might be pulling it through with something, but should be able to get it to go. And the other thing was, when they were cutting my chain, I noticed them throwing the cut links in a little box. I was like, hey, can I get some of those? Like, take as many as you want. Thank you. Because my original chains, I'm saving the hooks, and I could heat this and bend this open on this end and then bend it back closed. But this end, I have to cut the link, and I could use a link with like a little nut to hold it back together. But if I got a cut link, which is what I was going to do anyway, I could just feed it through there and weld it back together. See how that works out. All right, so first thing I'm going to do is cut loose the factory hook and the mount off of this sections of broken chain. I'm going to just hold it with a vice grip to keep it from flopping around on me. Here we go. And just some probably common knowledge, but with these wheels, you want to reduce the chances of this thing kicking back and exploding and taking you out. Don't push on them. They work really well and they'll last a long time if you just kind of touch it to the metal and let it do the job. Leaning on them just burns them out fast and increases the chances of them cracking, exploding, and taking your face off. All right, so I'm just taking one of my freebie Home Depot links there that on my chain, and then I can see if I can crush that back together. Probably need a bigger vice grip, or we'll go put it in a vise, but we'll see. Maybe not. Yeah. That'll work. I'm going to weld that together and get one end done. And then we'll come back and see, match the length up to the one original that I still have and see if it works. There we go. Welded on there. Just welded that end. Now you can't even see it because it's hooked on there, but trust me, it's welded. Now I'll just cut it to length, do the other side. All right, did a quick measure, cut a notch in the length there. See if we can get it to bend open with the vice grips. I don't know how strong this chain is. Maybe putting it in a vise. Nope, we got it. Okay, and that's that. But let's see if I can get it on the big hook. Hold this one straight. Then this one. Then like that. Oh, it broke. Uh-oh. Maybe welding it in two places. All right, we got a chain. Still hot. Welded on there. Same length as original. Should I spray it black like everything else on the truck? All right, first mistake I'm sure you caught, but I forgot about this. But I thought that I could get this through it, but I can't. So, at least I don't think I can. I don't know. It'd be very tight to go through there. I think I'm just going to have to cut that back off and feed the chain through and re-weld it. It is what it is. All right, there we go. I had to cut it open, feed the chain through the plastic, re-weld the link. Good to go. Now I'll put it on and see if it actually works, and then make another one. All right, wind is whipping, so this might through there. Factory original. Restoration. All right. At least I can say something's original here. Is that in there? That's not all the way. There we go. All right. Come on. All right. There we go. It's tight. Just should fill up like that. But then the real test is to see if when you open it up, it holds it at the right length to sit down and have a beer. Let's see. Is it hooking right? There you go. Best part about a truck. Sit down, have a beer on the tailgate. It's awesome. Chains are done. They look too new for the truck. I guess it'll have to do. So this non-drying paint is still going to be drying. I'm going to let that sit till tomorrow. Is there anything left? There's really nothing left except throwing the plate on it to drive it. I have a few holes I want to weld up. This used to have big mirrors on it, and there's some holes welded, or rather drilled in the cab. I want to weld those up just so water can't get in there. And I think we're ready for the first drive, but I do have to put some gas in it because if I take this right now, we're walking. All right, well, I did the first drive, and I'll put that footage up next. Problem was, I think this phone was like on almost zero battery, and when I checked the footage, the microphone was popping and making all kind of horrendous noise. So rather than throw it away completely, because you only get one first drive, I'll just play some music with it. So you can watch the first drive. Pretty anticlimactic. Went out, shifted through all the gears. All vitals look good. The speedometer is reading 50% of what it should. I have to compare that to a scanner before I program the speedometer, because it's an electronic speedometer. I could program that speedometer to match GPS reading, but the PCM also needs to be correct. So I need to put a scanner on first and check that. I do have one problem. This caliper, when I got back from the ride, this wheel is really hot. This caliper is either sticking, something's wrong with it. I don't think it's the e-brake. I'll put it in the air, but I'm pretty sure I had the e-brake adjusted correctly. But I'll check that again. But I think this caliper is no good. I'm probably going to have to replace it and bleed the back brakes again. What am I going to do? It's a junkyard rear axle. That's the chance you take. So I will have to do that. But hey, here's the footage of the first drive. So that was that. Pretty anticlimactic. I have to check also, the other thing I have to check, because again, I'm saying this while I was driving. There's a little bit of there's a rattle or something, and it almost feels like one of the front wheels is at around, because at certain speeds, it feels like it's bumping. It's not, in the steering wheel, you don't feel it. The steering wheel's straight, it's tracking straight, but there's something in the front end like that, like a tire is either bad or something's wrong with it. I don't remember how old those tires are that I put on there. You know, you always find this stuff up on the shakedown run. So I am going to get it in the air. Probably I'll double check the e-brake adjustment on this side. Order a new caliper, most likely, if that's the case, and I think it's going to need a new caliper. And spin the front wheels and see if I can see anything obviously out around. Otherwise, everything worked as it should. So we're on the right track here. So this will not be the last video for the truck, because now I'm going to have to do some more work, and then we want to get it out and run it around some more and actually get some footage other than with music in the background. Sorry. All right, so this is it, the finale. Let's go over the final budget. And because I'm running out of lines on the big one, I wrote everything here. So the last things to add into this, since we last looked at the budget. License plate mount cost me $38, value $38. New mirror head, $16, value cost me $16. My light up rat on the side, I spent $10 on that. That's the Amazon rat and a 12 volt to 6 volt converter that I soldered in and tied it in. Silly stuff. $10. The sill plates that I made, it's from another $10 bed frame. I didn't use it all, but you know, that's bed frame angle iron is a good cheap way to get it if you don't have a steel supply. But $10 across the board. I replaced both my vent windows. I don't think I put it in the video, but I had one that was missing a chunk of glass and one that was cracked, and somebody sold me a pair of used vent windows for now, because I want to put a full glass kit in this eventually, but for now that's all I needed. That was $52 shipped. My new chains for the tailgate, got those today, $18. Then I added in some miscellaneous expenses. So miscellaneous steel. I didn't use a whole lot of steel scraps on this, but I did, you know, I boxed the front rails and here and there used pieces. And I have a steel supply place where you can buy cutoffs and they weigh them and you get it. But I also have a whole lot of just miscellaneous scrap steel laying around here for years. So I put down a value of miscellaneous steel of $50, but as far as out of pocket, it's $0. I have so much of it, and most of it was given to me for free. Consumables. Call it, you know, cut-off wheels, MIG wire, welding gas, grinding wheels, you know, that kind of stuff. I put down, and I didn't keep track, but I put down $250. I think that's plenty. That covers like a full tank of welding gas and cut-off wheels and everything else, no problem. So I put down a value of $250 and an out-of-pocket of $250. And then lastly, I put down $50 for miscellaneous paint. I think I was keeping track of paint as I did this, but just in case I missed something, spray cans or whatever, I put down $50 across the board. So in the end, what that works out to be is value money to add in is $494, and out-of-pocket cost $444. So, the final, adding this all in, truck value after adding the $494 comes out to be $8,568. Out of pocket, after adding the $444, $4,733. We did it. So yes, I did it. We did it. Made a reliable, fun truck for under $5,000. Now, the cost of parts that I gave real values to, if you bought them, was almost 9,000. And these numbers are real. I have no reason to fudge these numbers. This is how I build trucks or cars. I've been doing it this way for many years. I don't gain anything. I didn't care if I made it or not. It was just a challenge to see if I could do it. And hey, it's doable, absolutely doable. Now, if you follow this method, you can do it too. It's very, and I'll say not very easy, but you can do it. You just have to put the effort in to get the parts. If you're going to catalog shop, forget it. You're going to spend much, much more. Just the independent front suspension that's on the truck. Using that Jaguar setup, I'd have to break it down, but we probably don't have more than $500 in that independent front suspension. And if you catalog shop a Mustang 2 or something like that, front end, it probably cost you $2,500. There is, however, an asterisk here. I built this truck for under $5,000 out of pocket. But while I kept track of the dollars spent, I also kept track of the hours. Now, I didn't punch a clock, but, you know, at the end of the day, I just said, okay, I was out there this many hours, actually wrench time, because a lot of days it's not straight work. I'll come out here for an hour, do something, whatever, and if I got to run, do something else, you know, I break it up. Hours, a very, I'll say, conservative estimate of hours. 370 hours. So I have 370 hours in this truck. So while I only have less than $5,000 in it, I got a lot of hours in it. So that's where the, I'll say, the asterisk is, because people say you can't do this. Well, you absolutely can. But if you were doing it to make money, you know, how much do you get paid an hour? You got to keep track of hours and such and like that. And I don't care, because I don't do this for money. I love doing this. If you can't tell, I get excited. I'm passionate about building these old cars. It's what I love to do. So the money's not the driver. If I was doing this just for money, I'd be broke. But you have to take that in consideration, because people will say you can't do this. Well, you certainly can. It's just that you're going to have a lot of hours in it. But if you're like me, and this is fun to do, the hours really don't matter. So, is this doable? Absolutely. You can copy me. The whole idea of this build was to keep the fabrication to a minimum. I mean, I kept the rear suspension, just a leaf spring setup. You could copy me on any of these early trucks. It doesn't have to be this 55 to 57 Chevy. You could do any manufacturer and copy what I did here and build yourself an awesome truck to have fun with. There's nothing to keep you from driving this across the country, except for I got to replace that caliper. But this is ready to go. You could paint it at another time if you want. All the foundation is already done and painted and solid. There's nothing that you have to redo or blow apart completely to make this thing however you'd like it to be. So I hope this series was helpful to you. The whole idea of this from day one was to show you how to build a pickup truck for next to no money, with all modern, you know, upgrades, you could say, and just have fun, something to have fun with. You know, it's like people get all bent out of shape when you say you're going to LS swap something or do something silly like put an old box in the bed of a truck. It's like, this is for fun, man. It's like, if you're that uptight that this bothers you so badly that someone's driving something without shiny paint or has an LS in it or has a rat sticking out of the fuel filler, you need to find another hobby. You need to lighten up, because this is just too much fun to be serious about. What can I say? So this is not the end. Again, I have to still sand this bed. I'm going to let this paint that'll never dry enough that I can at least knock it down. I'm going to get it in the air. I'll get I'm sure I'm going to be replacing that caliper. So I'll get that replaced. And then maybe we'll get some more drive video with sound once I get that done and we can take it out. But it's pretty much done. So maybe one more video on this one, and then we'll get on to the new stuff. So I guess that will be it. Finished. Thank you very much for watching. Thank you so much for following along. I hope this was helpful. And again, any questions or anything, just throw it in the comments. I will answer whatever I can answer. I am not, you know, a superstar, can dig it builder. I just do what I can with what I got. So that is it. And again, thank you so much for subscribing. We will see you on the next one. Later.